Hey, welcome back to the State of Love and Trust. It's episode 291, and this week we are celebrating Pearl Jam's 5th studio record, Yield, on its 28th birthday. So, we decided to give it the old retro reviews treatment. That's right, track by track, analyzing the music, the lyrics, and while we both love this record, there is one track we do not agree on. Find out which one next on the State of Love and Trust.
Hey, I'm Mike McCready from Pearl Jam.
Hey kids, this is Mark Arm from Mudhoney.
I'm Kevin Martin from Candlebox.
Hi, I'm Dave Cruzen.
I'm Tim Montana.
Hey, I'm James Joseph from James and the Cold Gun.
I am Matt Vaughn from Easy Street Records.
This is Pete Droge.
And this is the State of Love and Trust.
The State of Love and Trust.
The State of Love and Trust.
Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. Feed the algorithm.
Welcome back to another episode of the State of Love and Trust podcast. I'm one of your two hosts, Jason Kerepesi, and alongside me, as always, is
Paul Ghiglieri.
Paul. I am so excited. I feel like Jesse Spano when she took too many caffeine pills and Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, I wonder what Mr. Belding did with that.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of viewers and listeners that are literally just cocked the old eyebrow and said, what the hell are these guys doing?
Saved by the Bell. I think our audience remembers that episode.
Yeah, our American audience. I mean, why? I don't, was that global? Is it syndicated in
I don't.
Laos?
Audience, you tell us. I like how Laos is the first to mind. Was Saved by the Bell popular there in Laos? Our one Laos friend?
Ireland.
Anyways.
Ask Rosemary.
Rosemary, did it make its way to Ireland? You tell me. Pete, did it find its way to Australia? Anyways, before we start name checking all of the patrons, we love you. Welcome to the show here on YouTube. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Wouldn't you, please? And if listening only, Paul, what should they do?
Well, you're going to rate, you're going to review, you're going to subscribe on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Feed that algorithm and, feed the hope machine while you're at it, as some like to say.
I love feeding the hope machine. That was Matt Finland from the first episode of this year. And I'm feeling hopeful about this episode, Paul, because we are returning to a series that we've done 5 times, maybe. This is a series, we call it Retro Reviews, because we review records that happened another time. Years ago, even.
All those yesterdays.
People who've read the title are like, yes, we know what you're talking about. We get the joke. Yeah.
Or you're just looking at my shirt. This is a dead giveaway.
That's true.
All right.
Where you could have procured that record at Easy Street Records.
You could have. The shilling that never ends. It hasn't been for us.
Never ends.
We haven't plugged our own merch once.
Oh, that's true.
Not one time have we plugged our merch. Not once.
Not once have we said, go to the description to support the show by buying a shirt or a mug or something. We haven't said that at all. Respectfully, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But you could do that. Well, become a patron. Okay, that's enough.
Hypothetically, it's an option available to you. Right?
One could, if one were so inclined. What the hell are we talking about? Retro reviews, yes. So we've done a bunch of the Pearl Jam records, and today, February 3rd, is the 28th anniversary of Yield. And many people consider this to be their favorite Pearl Jam record. Paul, is it yours?
No, it's not. But it's a revered album in the Pearl Jam catalog. I think universally. For me, it was. It's the one album where every one of the records Pearl Jam returns to form with. Right? How many times? This was the only record where I saw that as like a remotely legit, not even legitimate, like remotely conceivable argument. But even then, when I look back at it, it was still a significant departure from anything they had done previously. So it continued to be an evolution in their sound rather than just a pivot backwards and return to form. So I guess this was a more successful, some would argue, pivot or evolution than the album that preceded it. I don't know. Lenny from Black Circle would argue against that point, though, wouldn't he? Big No Code fan he is.
He is. There is, I think, some more bitey guitars on this record. And so maybe that was one of the things. Hey, we got like straight ahead rock grooves. We got more distorted guitars on this thing. It's a little bit more accessible than some of the stuff on No Code. Return to form. All right. I guess that's one of like telemarketers have those scripts. And if you say X, they go, okay, and response 13. And if you say Y, response 47. It's like what writers do.
That is what they do, right? The writers also keep stats, right? So do you got any stats on this record?
No.
I want to pull up some stats.
I didn't do that part of the research.
Well, I mean, Pearl Jam releases this record in, what is it, 1998, right?
February 3rd, 1998. Yep.
February 3rd, 1998. So if you look back at this record now, let's see. Charts. It charted number 1 in Australia. Pete, how do you like that action? How do you like that action? In Ireland, number 4. You see where I'm going with this? Okay.
Paul's going to do every single country.
U.S. Billboard Top 200, number 2. It charted at number 2. Peak position was 2. So this was a wildly successful record after 2 albums that preceded it that were, I don't want to call them experimental, but certainly deviations from the path that they had forged in 10 and on Versus. So I guess in that respect, it was a smashing success. How many times gold or platinum was it certified? We are in the United States platinum, a platinum record. Huh? So there you go.
Love that.
Very successful record. So 2026, does it still matter?
Well, that isn't the assignment today, but that is a great question. Perhaps the comments will answer that question. Does yield still matter? Everyone yells yes, furiously with their keyboards.
This is a retro review, so I think we will indirectly answer that question.
Probably. Shall we get to the first song? We got plenty to talk about here. What, 12 songs, something like that? All right. First song, we got to kick it off with Brandon J. A punch in the face right out of the gate, and it's a Mike McCready penned song at that. Mike told us, Paul, last year how the Mad Season sessions gave him that confidence to write for Pearl Jam. And while Given the Fly is the first piece of music we heard from the record, from Pearl Jam on this record, it was a lead single. Mike wrote that gem as well. It's Brandon J leads the record off. And wow, what a downhill chromatic riff, single note on one side, open, full open D tuning bar chords on the other side. You got Jeff and Jack just dialed into the pocket. Just a classic Jack groove with that loose swagger that he has come to define him. The guitars are feisty. During the verse, Mike uses that wah pedal in a very rhythmic kind of counter beat before Jack's fill kind of whips us into the chorus. And now you got Eddie of No Code. He's the understated, introverted Eddie at times. That's gone. Immediately, that's gone. And I don't want to say it's like a newfound confidence, but it sounds like an energized purpose in his delivery. And Paul, I'm sure you'll touch on this too. Doing these retro reviews means that we have the benefit of time. We have the benefit of experience, a current zeitgeist. And unfortunately, that makes some lyrics, some songs sound reborn.
They land differently. They land a little differently.
Yeah.
Today.
How about these lyrics right here? You've been taught, whipped into shape. Now they got you in line. Stand behind the stripes. There will be order. So give it good mind. The whole world will be different soon. The whole world will be relieved.
Different, yes. Different, yes. Different, yes. Relieved, that I don't know about.
maybe that's the hope. But he wrote the song over 30 years ago, but the band dialed it over the next couple of years before they finally recorded it in the Yield sessions. If you can recall, I believe it made its debut in Salt Lake City of the 95 tour. Someone's going to correct me. That's fine. Ed was fascinated with the disappearance of John F. Kennedy's brain during that 1960s murder investigation. And from that, Ed was really focused on how we handle fear and paranoia while the government basically tells us, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. In fact, Single Video Theory, we love that video, that mini documentary film by Mark Pellington on the making of Yield. That's a play on the Warren Commission's single bullet theory. So the guys were dialed in during the making of this record and this song. And I can't help but to repeat that chorus in my head. The whole world will be different soon. The whole world will be relieved. It's really
relieved.
Really, I'm going to say it the right way, Paul, when we talk.
Thank you.
If I was to sing, I'd be obligated to sing it correctly. Sorry. I will say it is eerie to listen to Ed sing this, especially now, and his desire to approach this theme even 30 years ago really intrigues me. It's not the usual kind of rock song fare, and that in and of itself, I think, is refreshing and very interesting. Even the bridge lyrics, and by name, the name they gave me, the name I'm letting go. It's taking back agency. It's taking back ownership. We're seeing a lot of trust what I tell you, not what your eyes see right now. And this is a great song for overcoming that confusion and that paranoia. It's a fantastic song, rife with energy, insightful and interesting lyrics, and one that I've personally enjoyed for years. It's not a perfect song, Paul, but it's got a lot going for it, as much as straight ahead rockers go. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Hey, I'm with you on that. That's the exact same rating I gave it. I'll tell you, this song, if you asked me in 1998 what it would have been, I probably would have said a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it, but it felt a little disjointed and unfinished for some reason. When I look back at it, look, Brain of J is, you said this already, it's 90s distrust of authority, institutions, and easy answers, which were constantly fed to us on a spoon. And so Eddie was writing about something, and these lyrics echoed, I think, that millennial anxiety that a lot of people were feeling at the time. And I mean, at that time, religion, leadership, and truth, it all felt really suspect, man. Really suspect as the 20th century was coming to a close. Now, when you think about this song today and how it lands, we live in an era of misinformation, of culture wars, of info wars, of institutional collapse. I think we see that, across the board. So this song feels like really eerily current in a scary sort of way. I think it's a warning on a lot of levels about how blind faith and corrupted narratives and those things, they just land a lot harder today. I mean, you listen to this song right now and it sounds like almost like end of times paranoia. And that's what it sounded like then. It sounds less like end of times paranoia and more like sober reality today. And that, I think, is the part that's so unsettling. So 4 out of 5 for me, for sure.
It's wild how some songs find their way back into having strong meaning, even if it meant something a little bit different before. The words find meaning. They attract, I should say the times attract the lyrics. Okay. Great song. We both agree. Let's move on to track 2, which is Faithfull. Mike McCready at it again. Another strange guitar tuning spawned main riff. Thank you, Mad Season. I love how Jeff's bass bounces around Mike's simple chord progression in the beginning. And Jack's got that swinging, delicate groove, keeping everything together. And I love how he comes in with Ed. I also like how the delicate nature of Mike's playing is matched by Ed's delivery. Maybe it's because we've heard the song so many times that the opening feels like it's building to something, but that's the way it feels to me. There's almost an unease as Stone's guitar finally comes in and builds into that pre-chorus. But once the guitars find their bite, woo, baby, man, that riff that bends and swings you to the next chord, man, it gets the head and neck moving. And I know all my Stone Gossard fans know exactly what I mean when I say that. Oh, the chicken head's coming, baby. And you got that wonderful Jack Irons feel that gets us into the chorus where Ed just opens up to the sky. We all believe we're faithful. And I've mentioned the structure of the song before, kind of like a mountain that you climb and then climb down, maybe rappel perhaps. But when you're at the summit, man, one of my favorite moments in the catalog, that riff is such an ascendancy. It's almost like how Breath's bridge lifts you up. Like there's some of that action here as well for me. The addition of like the extra guitar, the Jack fills, the little lead bits that Mike does before we land back down on the other side of the mountain. It's like we've overcome something, like we've graduated to a different kind of thinking. And that thinking, of course, plays out like a piece of folded paper in half. Like we find ourselves on the other side of the crease.
I'm loving the imagery here. My man.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It echoes, Paul. It echoes. We all believe. There is a confidence by the time we get to the delicate outro, which mirrors the intro musically, that while we might all view God or whatever it is argued to be spiritually greater than us differently, it might just be simpler than those differences. That might just be that we just got to be good to each other, and the rest is going to sort itself out. And I love that. I love that message, and I love the song. 4 out of 5.
Okay, I like it. I can dig that. Look, you talked about gods. Faithfull in 1998 was about choosing belief, not in gods, not in systems, but in people and in possibility. And
yes.
I think
yes, sir.
when we think about like the framing in this song of faith as almost like an active, like human act versus blind obedience, the song really takes on an elevated meaning, and it's an uplifting tune in that regard. So I guess where I find the song so interesting is today it feels like a mantra for personal responsibility and community. And I didn't feel that when I first heard it. And it was a very intimate, personal song. It felt like a personal delivery or expose, whereas now it feels, like I said, it's like a mantra for personal responsibility and community, because 2026 is fragmented digital culture. So you've got a song that basically insists on a grounding belief, essentially in lived-in experience, and that feels incredibly relevant today. Very, very relevant today. So the sheer sustainability and I should say that it's not the sustainability, the sheer quality of the way this song has aged makes it a 4 out of 5 for me. But retroactively, looking back, or retrospectively, I should say, I can confidently give it a 4 out of 5, which again, much like Brandon J., I would have given the song a 3 out of 5 in 1998. And so first 2 tracks have already aged like fine wine.
I love it. I'm drinking a red blend, by the way. I got a little Zinfandel in there, a little Syrah, a little Grenache. It's lovely.
Kentucky bourbon for me. Where's Kevin Martin when I need him?
Damn it, Kevin. Where's that Lost Marbles when we need it? Hopefully soon. All right, let's go to track number 3. That is No Way. We've given Mike a lot of love in these first 2 songs, and rightfully so. But how about one Stone, Carpenter, Gossard, shall we? Here's a song, hardly played live, only played 12 times. We were lucky enough to see it one of those 12 times in 2013 at the now defunct LA Sports Arena.
Grateful.
Yep. You could argue this is a drone riff, as it's basically just Stone's cocked wah riff over and over with a simple jack groove for Ed to sing over. And that singing, man, it certainly feels like a conversation with oneself. Almost like the subject is kind of sucking themselves up in the mirror. And Jeff and Mike enter in that second verse. And man, Jeff's bass, it feels like, it's hard to explain it. It's almost like the bass is Ed's reflection echoing what he's saying. And not because it's mimicking Ed's delivery or his melody, but because it evokes a feeling counter to the droning guitars and Jack's groove. And that groove, by the way, feels like it's kind of stuck in a loop. Like when you're in a mental loop, like if that makes any sense. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I think this song needs that. And speaking of that groove, it keeps going into that heavy chromatic bridge riff and Ed's, ooh, let's call in an angel line. I like that there's that break and just Stone's guitar after this too. We needed a break. We need a dynamic shift to break up the droning. Those moments are just not going to have the impact that they had. However, I think it also feels like the ambient guitar stuff, Jeff's little bass doodle, Jack coming back in. I don't think it was very thought out. Like it was simply what I just said. We just needed something to break this thing up. We needed another section. So while I don't dislike the part, it sort of feels a little slapped together. And it must be a real pain to play live because it's basically in free time. So maybe that's why it hasn't been played live very much. I don't know. But thankfully, we do end strong with Ed repeating the chorus lines, which, if memory serves, Ed tweaked a bit from Stone's original lyrics to be a bit more positive and hopeful, even. Because I'll stop trying to make a difference. I'm not trying to make a difference. I'll stop trying to make a difference. No way. In fact, much like Faithfull, I look at this song as empowering. We spend so much time and energy trying to control things in our lives. Some things we can't, and we have to learn to let go and live with those things. And we don't need to fight every fight, we only have so much mental and emotional bandwidth. So let's find the battles that mean the most to you and focus on them. And the rest is going to have to be noise that we live with. And I think this is mentally freeing. So I love this one, Stone Gossard. I wish you would play it more. Please say yes. 3.5 out of 5.
That's cool. I can get behind that. This song, this is a blast of defiance. It was then and it is now. I mean, the band had spent years being told how to behave, how to sound, how to sell itself, and how to sell its music, right? So here we are in this moment where Pearl Jam basically draws a line between themselves and the music industry and the expectations of that industry. And Eddie basically acquiesces to surrender and, as you said, to stop trying to make a difference. That was the saddest part of this song when I first heard it, because I was so used to Eddie being this advocate for change. And then to listen to him sing on a track, on a Pearl Jam record, I've stopped trying to make a difference. I'm not trying to make a difference. It's like,
are they giving up? Like, that's what you thought?
Well, that, but also like, who are you? You know what I mean? Moving forward, this wasn't a judgmental question. It was coming from a pure place of curiosity and concern, because I just didn't know how they would be able to actualize themselves if they removed themselves from that position of resistance that they had occupied for so long. Like, who are they? Who do they become as people? And what does that look like in their music and for their own personal fulfillment? Today, though, I think the song is a little different because it has aged, I think, into more of like a broader anti-corporate anthem. And it feels that way when you hear it, because we're living in a world that's dominated by algorithms and branding. And despite how often I ask you, good listeners and viewers, to feed said algorithm, this song's raw refusal to do so still hits very hard. And that's what I love about it. It just hits differently now, because it's less of like a tantrum, and instead it's more of like drawing that necessary boundary, that line that I was talking about. So I felt at the time it was my favorite song on the record when I first heard it. I would have given it a 4 out of 5. Now, I feel as though this is a song where for you, it seems to have dipped a bit. I'm going to go with like a 3.5 out of 5, because I don't think it has aged as well as the first 2 tracks, but I don't think it has deteriorated in the same manner, or at least my perspective on how it was composed has not been altered in such a way that I look less fondly on it to that degree.
I thought you said that it would have been a 4. So has it gone? Is it stayed the same? Is that what you mean?
No, it's a 3.5. I'm just a slight nudge down.
Okay, so it's a nudge down for you as well. Okay,
just a snudge.
Yeah. A snudge.
A smidge. What is a snudge? Is that even a word?
It is now.
Well, I'm relieved to hear that. Let's go. Carrying on.
Wow. Firing all cylinders tonight, guys. All right, let's move on to the first single from the record, Given to Fly. Oh, baby, I'm going to give my take on this song, but we all know where this is going to end up. It's an absolute stunner, Paul, and yet another tip of the cap to one Michael McCready for the music, and of course, Ed for the lyrics. The main riff was created by Mike on a snowy day in Seattle on his acoustic guitar. He was messing around with alternate tunings, as he is wont to do. And this one is in the open G tuning, which is a lovely tuning. If you don't know that tuning, go check out Chris Cornell or Keith Richards. They use it quite often. Mike adds a bit of compression and a little bit of wobble, possibly a roto vibe to that opening riff to kind of give it that feeling. And when you add Jack's signature, multi-tom groove, you get this wonderful feeling like you're riding your bike through wooded trails or something. And I love the deep droning from Jeff's bass as well. It's very grounding, and its simplicity is key considering how much else is going on with Mike and Jack. And then when Stone enters and Jack picks up the energy, we are building to one of the most cathartic moments in Pearl Jam's catalog. And it's one of Ed's finest lyrical efforts as well, detailing the freeing effect love can have on a person, both receiving and giving. The imagery is beautiful, and the way the subject releases everything in that chorus through Ed, flying high, wide, is just everything. I mean, dynamically, I love Shift, Paul. Dynamically, this song has everything. It's delicate and down, and then it raises you up loudly and unapologetically, then back down again before back up again, like we've caught a wave surfing for the first time. And I know it's not an analogy not lost on Ed. I know we're trying to keep this episode tight, but I have to read these lyrics because the second verse is so damn good.
Let's hear it.
He floated back down because he wanted to share his key to the locks on the chains he saw everywhere. But first he was stripped and then he was stabbed by faceless men. Well, fuckers, he still stands. And he still gives his love. He just gives it away. The love he receives is the love that is saved. And sometimes it's seen a strange spot in the sky, a human being that was given to fly. Fuck. Goosebumps, Paul. Can you see him? Goosebumps.
Some heavy stuff, my man.
Oh my God. And after all that, you got that graceful landing in the outro to seal the deal. There's no flaws in this song, Paul. It's a 5 out of 5 banger.
It is a 5 out of 5, and I'm right there with you. Like, it's a Pearl Jam classic. It's about perseverance. It's about self-actualization. And I think after, the last 5 years of Vitalogy and No Code, which were just both rife with inner turmoil, this song in particular, it really felt like a really hard-earned moment of uplift. So, and it felt like that at the time. And it still feels like that today. So, totally with you, a 5 out of 5. It's interesting because when you think about this song today, it almost feels like a generational endurance song on a lot of levels. You know what I mean? Like growth. I think about this concept of a growth mindset, which I'm becoming more and more attached to. But this idea that growth comes through repeated failure, that's the message of this song. It feels timeless in that regard, and more relevant today than it ever has, especially in an age like today, which just seems obsessed with instant success with TikTok and influencers and everything else. Nobody wants to put any equity in anything. And so a song like this that just reminds people that, look, when you fall down, those moments exist for a reason. They are designed to give you the resiliency to pick yourself back up. And quite frankly, in a lot of ways, they enrich your life. And trying to skirt away from that through these evasive tactics to avoid having to experience those things and just have the fast lane gifted to you, it doesn't teach you anything, and B, it almost robs you of what should be a more enriching and rewarding experience. So it's almost like sometimes we got to think very carefully about what we wish for and how we want to go about getting it. So 5 out of 5 for me, given a fly.
Absolutely. I love when we talk about the growth mindset. I think we talk about it a bit when we reviewed Something Special, I think. Maybe that was the tune that we talked about a little bit. Here's a really silly analogy. My oldest son loves to play FIFA on the PlayStation. And he'll have it on like the rookie level, and he'll drop like 6 goals on some team. And I'm like,
Six.
He's just dropping 6. Dropping hand bones +2. And I'll be like, put it on a harder difficulty. You got to challenge it. You're not going to get any better if you don't challenge yourself. And then I'll play him, and I just absolutely murder this kid.
You just layeth the smacketh down on his candy behind.
This kid, he's left crying in the corner. Like, dude, you're not going to get better playing rookie level on FIFA. You're going to get better watching me punk you with sweet cutbacks and crosses.
Yeah, why don't you pick on somebody your own size, kid? Like somebody 5 times bigger.
Yeah. That's a dumb analogy.
No child can beat me.
It's like Billy Madison with the dodgeball.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you're not going to gain any knowledge.
This is already the highlight of the year. Jason sending his son into a fit of tears by whipping that candy ass in FIFA on PlayStation. Parenting.
Got him.
From Jason Kerepesi.
Hey.
Parenting 101, I should say.
Okay.
That's terrible. Don't ever do that again.
Don't ever do that. Okay.
No, honestly, I'm with you though. Like you're because you're right. It's about what are you getting out of something that offers little to no resistance whatsoever. Right. So why not add a challenge to this and build a skill? It'll make it more enjoying and more fulfilling when you achieve a goal.
Absolutely.
I'm with you.
Track number 5, Paul, Wishlist.
Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist. Wishlist.
you. I think for a long time, I viewed this droning ballad of sorts as a song that I thought was really nice, but nothing special. Like, it's very repetitive and it doesn't really ever get out of second gear vocally. But I like the imagery and the lyrics enough, especially that Camaro's hood line. Really cool. But I wouldn't seek it out live. And it was just, yeah, it was nice. Listening more intently over the last couple of years, I have found a different appreciation for it. Talking about aging like fine wines, this one for me. The repetitive nature of Ed's guitar and that droning one-note bass line in the verses, that's intentional. Duh, Jason, everything they do is intentional. It's meant to support the seemingly repetitive nature of all the things Ed is wishing for. It's essentially a mantra. And this mantra began as an 8-minute stream of consciousness in the studio until Ed picked out his favorite wishes, so to speak. And we've talked about Eddie Vedder's approach to lyric writing before. You got poetic versus storytelling, and this is the former, and it's hypnotic. And when the guitars change, I guess you could call it a chorus, even though the lines never actually repeat. The addition of Stone's little arpeggio pattern in that second verse is a lovely touch that adds a bit of whimsy and makes the song sort of lift off in a way. And yet, the way Ed sings throughout makes it feel like this is a flight for two, man. Like just he and I. Not to get too cheesy, but like maybe it's like a hot air balloon ride at night. And you got Mike's solo, sort of like the audio representation of like a flock of birds just flying by us as we float past hills and valleys below. Everyone's asleep, unaware of the manifestations we're making above. And I think it's all these reasons that people enjoyed it so much that they lifted it to 6th on the rock radio chart. And while I love its finality in the live setting, I don't mind that it fades out with Ed singing even more wishes on the studio cut. It's almost as if his appetite for something better is insatiable.
Never ends. Yeah, exactly.
You know? It's truly a lovely song that I just didn't appreciate when I was younger. But damn it, Paul, 4.5 out of 5.
Hey, I'm with you on that. I probably give it the same thing. Difference is I was on that train in 1998.
You were.
Man, I always loved this little minimalist love song in the late 90s era of irony. Look, he's got that like whispered delivery, and these simple desires. And I wish I was the full moon shining off of Camaro's hood. I still think it's one of the best lines in the entire catalog. It feels almost radical, though, when you think about it. At that time, lines like that felt radical in their vulnerability in 1998. When you take a rock outfit in the 90s, I mean, that's not the kind of thing you expect out of a rock outfit in the 90s. Nowadays,
especially when Limp Bizkit and Korn were topping the charts at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I mean, look, all these years later, I think there's a sincerity to the song that's only grown stronger. I think it stands as a reminder that being emotionally direct, that doesn't ever go out of style. Mm-hmm. Never goes out of style. And in fact, it might be necessary. So culture, at least the culture we're living in today, can actually cycle back towards authenticity. So I'm with you, 4.5 out of 5. And I think we should spin this bad boy a little more often than we do.
Absolutely. And by the way, the last time Pearl Jam played this song live as of this taping would have been Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, when Ed tagged Comes Then Goes. Possibly, we think, a little nod to Chris Cornell. So a very nice, unique moment for the last time this has been played live. But, if you're watching this in 2027, I'm going to bet they've already played live again. Who knows? My guess.
Who knows?
Anyways, yeah. Let's go to the track.
You've officially guaranteed this episode will never be evergreen.
Oh, we've already hit that bar.
That's true. We're over our skis in that regard.
Let's go to track number 6, Pilate. Pilate. I have always had a soft spot in my heart for this one, even though I believe most Pearl Jam fans could never hear it again and be okay with that. I am not, Paul. This is...
I'm not either for this song, but there might be another one on here that I do feel that way.
Come to us in about 30 minutes, guys. This is Jeff Amen's first lyrical contribution to a Pearl Jam record, and the idea came from a classic book, Master and the Margarita, and Jeff likened himself at the time to that of Pontius Pilate, alone on a hilltop with only his dog by his side, left to wonder about loyalty amid unfinished business. How does one reconcile a conversation they can never finish? And how do they make peace with that? I love this idea, even if Jeff's lyrics are often very hard to decode. The music, though, has always delighted me. Such a bouncy, dynamic, simple verse, augmented by a straight-ahead rockin' chorus with those chanting vocals from Ed. And the use of Stone and Mike's guitars and that calm response effect with each pan left and right. That's a fun twist. I like that one. The bridge offers that contemplative, like emerging from the woods into a clearing sort of feeling. And I get a lot of nature vibes from this album, if you couldn't tell. These lyrics always killed me. Stunned by my own reflection, it's looking back, sees me too clearly, and I swore I'd never go there again, not unlike a friend that politely drags you down. I love the imagery in these bridge lyrics, and I know that a lot of people think the obeys, listens, kisses, loves background vocals in the chorus are a bit cheesy, and they are, but they also make me smile, so I like that. And, not everything has to be serious all the time, and this song's barely 3 minutes. So listen, it's a fun song that offers a really interesting premise, but it doesn't go deep enough into that territory for me. So I'm a bit underwhelmed, even though I find the music to be a fun little bit of difference from what they usually put out there. So for me, 2.5 out of 5.
This one was always a little too inaccessible to me, even if I was always intrigued by the way it explored power and guilt and moral abdication. I appreciated that. It's funny because you write a song about how leaders distanced themselves from responsibility in 1998. And boy, does it feel like a song you can write in 2026. It really, really does.
True.
So I suppose in that regard, I land similarly in that like 2.5, 3 out of 5 at best, probably 2.5. I suppose, the biblical references served, I guess, as a metaphor for modern authority back then. You can make the argument it feels even more apropos now. So I'm with you, 2.5 out of 5.
All right. I was afraid that I might be a little too high for you because you usually poo-poo this song a bit.
It was an automatic skip at one point in my Pearl Jam experience, but now I think I've come to appreciate it. I actually really, when I first heard it, I really enjoyed the verse and the way that it was leading towards the chorus, and then the chorus just like, nope, not for you.
I love that. I've always loved the chorus. It's so simple and it's a little cheesy. I don't know. I can't really explain it because ordinarily I'd be like with you, like this is just what are we doing here? But yeah, one of the inexplicably likable songs for me. Anyways, it's only a 2.5 out of 5 though.
You're entitled to that.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to, baby, Do the Evolution. This blistering rocker wasn't even an official radio single, and it still made it to number 33 on the modern rock chart. The incredible Todd McFarlane music video was the first official music video by the band since Jeremy, and it absolutely nailed the assignment. But what of the song itself, Jason? Well, I will tell you. Pearl Jam fans probably know the story. Ed, a huge fan of Dan Quinn's novel Ishmael, really digs into this theme of humans' arrogant quest for global dominance at all costs. And the idea that Ed would go full sardonic in the lyrics and delivery, that was a lovely curveball from a band that wore its heart on its sleeve until this point, for the most part. This thing is anchored by Stone's amazing boomerang riff. This takedown of human hubris is built to kill, and I love it. There are so many incredible lyrics in this song. I love this section right here. I'm at peace with my lust. I can kill because in God I trust. It's evolution, baby. Like the hypocrisy of powerful men and those who believe they're entitled to it is really something. Throughout this song, Ed lambasts the follies of our species and how we cannot keep destroying people and the planet for unlimited greed. Then the incredibly sarcastic bridge where the band drops out and it's just Jack's groove and a choir of Eds singing hallelujah. Just absolute class. And again, something I didn't think I'd get from a Pearl Jam song. And I'm not sure what you call the admire me, admire my home section. It's not a bridge. It's not a chorus, whatever the hell it is. That riff, that vocal delivery, and the way the descending chords get us back into the main section, just sublime musical connective tissue. This song is so wonderfully crafted, arranged. Each part makes so much sense in how it connects to the next. And every player's part is essential. Jack and Jeff, they strap us into this ride and they lock the doors. Mike and Stone, they're just hitting the accelerator and don't let up. And then Ed, he's driving this thing after he snipped the old brake lines. Like, we are all on this thing together and it feels tremendous. 4.5 out of 5.
All right. Look, you and I are in agreement. Pearl Jam's most overt political statement on the record is this song. Mm-hmm. You watch this Nightmares video, or you see it live, then or now, and it's a blistering, savage satire of human progress, capitalism, and social Darwinism. But what's sad to me is that this song felt prophetic in 1998, and it still does. That's what's sad. Except it's like we're closer to making those nightmares a reality. Environmental collapse, wealth inequality, unchecked technological progress, all that make what felt like cynicism back in 1988 feel a lot less exaggerated. Yeah, in 98, it feels a lot less exaggerated and more documentary style today. And I think that is the part that saddens me. That's the part that saddens me. And in that regard, I mean, it's hard to argue with a song that has had the ability to continue to resonate. But more importantly, it's a song that stylistically is so unique in the catalog, both in terms of the way it was presented in video form and the way that it comes across live to an adoring audience that absolutely loves this song. It's a greatest hit, was never an official single. Yeah, I'm with you. Look, when I first heard this song, I could not really get down with this at all.
Wow.
I mean, like the weird, like guttural scream at the beginning, it just felt like awkward. And then it was, I don't know. It's just, is it punk? Is it rock? Is it garage rock? Is it some bizarre hybrid of the three? I couldn't get into it. I don't know. But, over time, I have come to really like the song a lot, and it rocks. It crushes. It's cool. It's fun. It's a ride of a good time, man. It really is. You play this song live, and everyone's hopping up and down and dancing. So I'm with you. 4 out of 5.
All right. This was a song that, by the way, if you recall, the DVD shook the Madison Square Garden stage for the 4th time in the building's history at that point. The other 3, The Boss,
Bruce,
Grateful Dead, and Iron Maiden. Those are the 3 other ones.
Those are the 3. Yeah. Well,
so there you go.
How do you argue with that, huh?
Good company. All right, let's go to Red Dot. Untitled, The Color Red, Red Bar, Red Dot, whatever the hell you call it. For me, it means stop. It means let's pause what all of us are doing and just think for a minute. Like, that is if you believe the lyrics that you can find online, which what I've found are, we are all crazy. We're all crazy at war. That said, no one outside the band really knows what Jack Irons meant with this 1 minute long experimental world beat instrumental. It's very groovy and it's very Jack, and that's cool. And we got interludes, little connective bits of music on Vitalogy. So this wasn't unexpected for Pearl Jam fans. I think its sequencing right after Do the Evolution is key. And like those crickets at the very end feel intentional about what we as citizens do or don't do when the hard task of keeping our politicians in check comes up. Then again, maybe I'm overthinking this completely.
No, man, I think there's a lot of intentionality behind these choices.
I'm going to go 2 out of 5 because I'm not really sure what to make of it. But
honestly, I thought you summed it up perfectly. I mean, I always saw that red dot as like pressing record. We're all crazy at war. And then those crickets are like, and nobody's really actively doing anything to stop it or change it. It's just crickets anytime somebody points out the obvious. Is that really much different than today? There's a whole lot of outrage and hand wringing. And that seems to be a common motif in modern society.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to doing something about it, crickets. I don't know.
Last week, we did a show, a new series called Soundtracking the Year. And the year that we chose was 2016. We chose the albums from that year that really were the soundtrack for us for that year. And I kept on coming back to, actually, we think we both did to a degree, albums that seem to still fit the zeitgeist, still fit what was happening and how he felt about what was happening in our world. What is the deal with history repeating itself, Paul?
I don't know. I guess we never learn. So, your rating was what, a 2 out of 5?
2 out of 5, Paul.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I mean, it's not something you go out of your way to play. You know what I mean? It's not a conventional song in that regard. So I suppose I can get behind that.
Okay. There you go.
Although I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 because I can think of a song on the record that I would actually play this over.
Oh my God. Guys, I'm telling you, you got another 15 minutes before we get to that part. It's going to be brutal. Anyways, next track is MFC. There are a lot of Pearl Jam songs about escapism, and this is probably the shortest. If memory serves, Ed really did rent a mini fast car when vacationing in Italy in the mid-90s. Again, lyrically, this is a gem. It's such a short song, so every note and every word is magnified. And again, another song in which Ed transmits his feelings and story through the eyes of a female protagonist. The similarities thematically with verses Rearview Mirror, pretty obvious. Female escaping a problem, to keep it simple. Yet by the time Ed wrote this, he had experienced his own set of problems, his own set of reasons to escape, to flee. You know, we've talked about his stalker, who finds her way into songs like I Got Shit or I Got ID, and Lucan. And to think of Ed like off tour, renting a small car and just driving through the gorgeous Italian countryside, that is a really welcoming and frankly relaxing thought. And it makes me feel like he must have been just so happy and liberated when he debuted the song in Rome with a bunch of local musicians at a bar. I touched on these next lyrics before, and I will drop them here for posterity as some of my favorite in the Pearl Jam canon. They said timing was everything, made him want to be everywhere. There's a lot to be said for nowhere. Man, I think we all need to listen to MFC like once a week to recenter ourselves, to remind us to slow down and be present, to take solace in the little things and appreciate those details. The outro, such a fun section as well with the swaying nature of Mike's lead, the band seemingly in full exuberance. My only complaint is that it's too short.
Yeah.
Do it longer for me. 3.5 out of 5. Solid song.
Solid song. I'm with you. I gave it the same thing. It's a classic Pearl Jam car song. You know what I mean? You get that punky burst of joy and freedom. I mean, it's all about escaping town, like you said, but it's also about escaping expectations. It's about escaping yourself in a lot of ways, right? And so, which, by the way, you can't really ever do, no matter how far you run. I guess thematically, that makes it a country song. I'm just saying. But today, what's funny is today, like it almost plays like a reminder that resistance doesn't always have to be heavy. And we're living in a time where we feel like resistance has to be heavy. And if you're listening to this or watching this in 2026, you might feel that that's the only form of resistance that matters, that will resonate, that will be impactful, that'll be heard. But sometimes resistance is really just movement, man. You know what I mean? It's laughter. It's just getting the hell out. And I think that this song echoes those sentiments. So I'm with you on that. 3.5 out of 5.
What was the movie or TV show where the line was like the best revenge is living good or something like that?
Was that a tagline at a TV show?
I feel like it was like a line from a movie or something like that. The best revenge is living well.
Best revenge. I mean, it's a common, like it's a well-known.
Is it a common thing?
Yeah, it's a common. I could be wrong. I don't know. Look that up.
Internet, look that up. I don't have time. I'm busy reviewing this record.
I'll look it up.
All right, let's go to Low Light. Low Light might be Jeff Amen's best Pearl Jam song. Dancing between 5/4 and 4/4 time signatures, yet it feels like a waltz at times. And speaking of waltz, the way the acoustic guitars and the keyboards dance around each other is just superb. I mean, Brendan O'Brien's contributions on this track are massive and much appreciated. And we've both said before, and I said it earlier, how difficult it can be to truly unlock what Jeff means when he writes lyrics. But the internet is a hell of a thing. And when I read years ago that Low Light was the response to Pilate and how Jeff felt about his station in life, found that key. And I wonder if a lot of fans of Pearl Jam felt the same way, because this song took 3 years to even make a live debut and 8 years before it was played more than 3 times on a tour. In fact, only in the last 8 years has it really found a home where it's consistently played. And I suspect age, experience, and wisdom has played a role in that resurgence. You know, this song speaks so interestingly to the idea of finding peace and connection. The connection could be with another person or your higher spirit, and that feeling helps Jeff or the protagonist find his or her home. Questions are answered. And if we're thinking about the relationship between this song and Pilate, and while both offer worthwhile themes, I think Low Light articulates the mood and desires of the song a lot better and in a more balanced fashion. This song has aged really well for me, 4 out of 5.
Look, this is such an underrated beauty of a song. It's one of my all-time favorite songs in the catalog. You go back and it still holds up as this meditation on like uncertainty and trust during a really, really difficult time. It's just a beautiful song. It really is. It has kind of like a message about navigating through these dark times when you don't have any guarantees about what's on the other side. You know what I mean? And I think that resonates really deeply in today's era, which feels more and more largely defined by anxiety and just being in flux. So it's for sure, you know, a 4.5 out of 5 for me. I still love to play this song. I wish they would play it more often.
There you go.
There you go.
By the way, who said, did you look it up? Who said revenge is living well?
English poet George Herbert said that in the 1500s, man.
Oh, of course. George Herbert. We all know George Herbert. Georgie boy. Come on.
Georgie boy. Just dropping dimes like, you know, 600 years ago.
I don't know where I heard that line. It must have been co-opted into some, you know, film that I watched or something. I don't know.
I'm sure it's been repurposed multiple times.
Yes, I'm sure it has. But George Herbert, you saucy tart, you. Well said. All right, let us move on to In Hiding. Guys, if you ever wanted to go to school to learn how to write an anthemic rock song, just listen to In Hiding. Stone Gossard, take a bow, because the main riff by itself is incredibly lyrical and uplifting. Jeff's bouncy bass line perfectly complements it. Jack's drums hopping along in unison completes the scene. This song was not a radio single, yet it climbed to number 13 on the rock charts. And that's because that beautiful verse section builds the listener up to a footing just above the tree line at a pre-chorus that is probably more pleasing than most choruses. And then the chorus, which is about as cathartic as you'll get in the catalog. It's a declaration that it's okay to turn the world off, to focus on yourself, to hide away from big distractions and small, and gain clarity and calm. And to say all that in such an enthusiastic, cathartic way, like that juxtaposition is alarmingly welcome. And just as an aside, we don't even get that beautiful pre-chorus, chorus, like back-to-backer until after the second verse. Like Pearl Jam smartly teases us with that little down-the-neck arpeggio thing while Ed sings a nothing sound bit. You know, I've said before, musical Kama Sutra. They did it in Why Go, they've done it here. You know? And the ideas Ed presents in this song come from a Charles Bukowski book referred to him by one Sean Penn about taking a fast from life. And goddamn, do we all need that sometimes. Here in 2026, you could say that applies to social media, I think pretty strongly. But I want to come back to that term fasting from life, though. We are creatures of habit and routine. And when we deviate abruptly, it can shock the system. I know when I don't have coffee in the morning, I'll have a headache in the evening. That is a chemical reaction. And I think the same holds true for our emotional and mental well-being as well. So a song like In Hiding is not only a musically brilliant, dynamic piece of art, but it celebrates a balance and clarity most of us probably eschew for convenience or diligence. And we all have so much to do that we don't take stock, we don't take care of ourselves. In Hiding is the reminder, and what a reminder it is. In the Pearl Jam canon, there are a number of amazing songs. Then there's elite songs. And this is one of them, 5 out of 5.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. In Hiding, the single that never was.
Exactly.
I guess you could argue that this song is like the emotional core of this record. And I wouldn't argue against that. I mean, it's obviously was then and is now about withdrawal when it debuted, but not as weakness though. It's more about self-preservation. You know what I mean? And when you think about Pearl Jam at the time, this is a band that essentially retreated from the spotlight to survive in the late 90s. Now, it's hard to pin down, I think, how this song fits in today's world, but we do live in a very hyper-visible, always-on culture. So I guess you could say In Hiding almost feels, to use a word I used earlier, radical. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of radicalism on this record, but not in the way that you think I mean it. It does validate, I think, a need for privacy. It validates a need for boundaries. It validates even a little bit of intentional disappearance. And I think In Hiding in that regard still holds a lot of weight today as it did back in 1998. I can't go 5 out of 5 because I just don't know if it hits quite that hard. I don't know if Eddie's, I don't know, there was just something like, I love that he goes where he goes on the chorus. But this is one of those, this is sacrilege when I say this. This is one of those rare songs where I can picture another artist singing it and liking it.
You saucy son of a gun.
I know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. There's just some notes that I think Eddie would say the same thing. Like there's some notes that I hit, somebody else can hit better. And there's
to the gulag with you.
But take Black, for example. That's a song where no matter who does it, it never lands the way that it does when Eddie sang it. You know what I mean? So anyway, hopefully I just balance the scale there. I'm going to go 4 out of 5 because it is a beautiful.
Not even 4.5.
I mean, yeah, it's better than. I actually think it's better than Do the Evolution. So I'll give you that 4.5 out of 5.
All right, I can live with that. Whew, off the ledge, Jason. Jesus Christ. What say you, everyone? Get in those comments and at us. Let us know who's right and who's wrong. It's a half a point, so basically. All right, let's move on to the second to last track, the penultimate track, Push Me, Pull Me.
I had a false belief, I thought I came here to stay. We're all just visiting.
This song, unlike most in the Pearl Jam catalog, makes me think about it a lot more than others, actually. There's so much going on between the Police-like bass groove and Ed's spoken word dissection of the origins of life and introspection to the off-the-wall samples and just strange sounds.
Industrial sounds.
Yeah. I think there's a sample at the very beginning of Olympic Platinum. Is that what that was, right?
Yeah,
the very beginning. I gotta say, though, the theme, the lyrics, the way Ed delivers these lines with a casualness, it's like there's no pressure on him, which is very refreshing. And there are some really great lyrics inside this one, too. How about these? I had a false belief. I thought I came here to stay. We're all just visiting, all just breaking like waves. The oceans made me, but who came up with love? Oh,
it's great stuff, man.
It's great. Like when Ed dives deep into himself, we often get more than we bargained for, and in a good way, I think. And
always.
It's the kinds of questions he asks of himself and the way in which he asks them, the way he articulates things like these lines. Like a cloud dropping rain, I'm discarding all thought. I'll dry up.
That line is just chef's kiss.
It's so good. I'll dry up, leaving puddles on the ground. I'm like an opening band for the sun. I'm not even sure what that means totally, but goddamn, is it cool? Is it cool? this album's theme of yielding or giving way to nature and not trying to control everything, it's on full display here. And while it's not something musically that I'm going to want to hear frequently, it is an important addition to the album, much in the same way I think Bugs is to Vitalogy. It's a strange number that says more than meets the eye. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
That's exactly what I gave it. You know, it's interesting. Back then, like these little abstract, groove heavy spoken word things, they were kind of hit or miss with Pearl Jam. But I think, and this one, I think just the title alone obviously allowed the song to wear its meaning on its sleeve in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's about emotional tension and identity conflict. It's obvious that what the song is about. But the lyrics are so poetic and memorable. And that the sound is such, like I said, this offbeat industrial contrast to that. So where does this song fit today? Well, what we know of Pearl Jam today and the music that would follow Yield, this song almost sounds like a precursor to what they would later experiment with. I mean, going all the way to Dark Matter, you see a lot of these experimental instincts being embraced and channeled. And I think that you see that precursor in Push Me, Pull Me. So I guess in that way, over time, the ambiguity kind of aged well. You could make that argument. So I'm with you. Same rating.
All right. Push Me, Pull Me is such a one.
I would welcome it live.
I would too. I mean, I don't have the note in front of me, but I'm sure it's been played less than 10 times if I had to guess. And that bass line is just so groovy. And yeah, the lyrics are incredible. Out of nowhere, the poetry. What a song. Go listen to Push Me, Pull Me. All right, here we go. Last track. Paul, you ready?
First, I'm going to look up.
What are you going to look up?
I want to know how many times Push Me, Pull Me has been played. This is requisite research here. Push Me, Pull Me first played August 29th, 1998. Last played October 20th, 2014. It's been played 10 times, Jason.
Oh,
I said less than 10.
Okay.
So, but you were close, man. That was almost
had it. $1, Bob.
That was almost a bullseye, so I'll give you that.
All right, here we go. You ready for the last track?
Let's do it.
If
we have to, let's do it.
We have to, Paul. All right. The final track, and one that is comically to me, at least, irritating to Paul. And I cannot wait for your takedown of this song. But before that, this simple Stone Gossard pen track, it's slow-ish, maybe mid-tempo, you could argue, and is, in my view, kind of a cousin to Present Tense from No Code. Don't you think you ought to rest? Don't you think you ought to lay your head down? Let it wash away all those yesterdays. Like, what's done is done. We cannot fix the past, but we can learn from it. So let's breathe. Let's settle down. Let's recalibrate. You know, these sentiments have been littered across the record, and I love how they fit into the music in this song. The main riff, the gentle bounce of Jeff's bass, the way Ed sings, it's all very intimate. It sounds like there's no reverb at all on Ed's voice in the verse. He's singing very close to the mic, so you feel like you're right there in the room with him. And granted, I don't know what paper plates have to do with anything, but the back and forth nature of the song, it's really soothing to me. Like, that's the only way I can really explain it. And then you have the whole outro. This reminds me of Red Mosquito in a lot of ways. You got that wraparound riff balanced against the main riff and a more straight ahead rock groove from Jack. And Ed, he just opens up. He steps back away from the mic a bit, really opens up. The whole thing just blooms like a flower in that outro. It just feels so natural and inviting to me. And I know you won't like this, Paul, but I could hear that outro for a few extra minutes. And fortunately for me, they've done that a few times in the modern live performances of the song. For me, it's a really simple but lovely tune. It's not amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one of those deep cuts that I am delighted to hear anytime I see it. So for me, it's a 3.5 out of 5. Now, tell me why I'm wrong.
Some Pearl Jam fans would call this a reflective closer. about memory, regret, and the danger of living in the past. What a fitting end to an album about yielding. I just find it wholly musically uninteresting.
I get it.
Look,
I get it.
I mean, I understand its placement. I understand its value to the record as a whole. It's a song that when I listen to it, I just don't get it, man.
You don't like that riff, do you?
There's just, I mean, I listen to it. I don't like anything about this song. And I am entitled to that.
You are.
But at the same time, I didn't say that the song has no redeeming qualities. In fact, I rattled off a few that probably a lot of people feel, and I can respect that. I just don't share that that warm embrace in the sense that it doesn't hold me back. I don't know what to tell you.
I hear you. What's the rating then? And hopefully it's not lower than my rating of 7 o'clock.
I'll give it a 2 out of 5 because I think I'm beyond the point of just outright skipping it. I will actually allow it to play for the posterity of listening to the whole record. But if it's just, if I'm cycling through on shuffle, man, and that sucker comes on, it's a quick trigger finger. I'm telling you right now.
Will you skip it if it's played in a boot? Mm-hmm. You will. You'll go to you'll jump ahead in time in the bootleg in the concert.
Yeah, because that's when I would have gone to the bathroom probably. So if I could skip it live, I could skip it on the.
You actually go to the fridge to get a drink, come back, skip. Oh my god, that's very funny. For those of you who have not yet listened to or watched our retro reviews on Riot Act or the actual review on Gigaton, which by the way, Gigaton review was episode 2 or 3, a long time ago. People, there's no video of that, but there is an audio. I'm pretty sure I gave 7 o'clock a 1.5, and the same thing for Help. So
I would take 7 o'clock, miles over.
You rated it higher for sure than me.
But I also actually I have a kind of a bizarre fondness for Help. So I don't know what to tell you.
It's just you and John Schultz.
Yeah, I guess.
It's Love and Riot Act. All the warts and everything. I
have to say though, since this is a retroactive review, in a lot of ways, when I think about this record, it feels like and felt like at the time that Pearl Jam had found some measure of peace without necessarily losing their sense of purpose. And I think that was important because if they had lost that sense of purpose, I don't think they're a band anymore. So I think this is a seminal record in that regard. But I also think when you think about the way that it champions restraint, the way that it values reflection and being emotionally vulnerable and emotionally honest, and the admirable resistance to just spectacle. Because if there was ever a time to come out swinging big, this would have been the record to do it for a band that was, theoretically, folks would have argued needs to get back on top again, or the last ditch effort to do so before the 90s come to a close. And they didn't do that. You know what I mean? I mean, this was a world at the time that was really driven by outrage cycles, and it still is. And I think that they released a record and it suggested a completely different way of doing things and looking at things. It was about taking a step back. It was about thinking clearly, and it was about choosing something deliberately. And in that regard, I think Yield holds up very, very well today.
It was about responding, not reacting.
Mm-hmm.
Before he even came up with the lyrics to that song. You could argue that, thank you. You could argue that Binaural was the record that should have gotten the angst in the fierce, but that we didn't get that until Avocado.
It's like they spent the 90s trying to survive, man. And then suddenly this record comes out and it just somehow concretely solidified them as an institution. And they didn't have to fight so hard anymore. It's weird.
Yeah. I told the story before in some capacity, but there was, and I think for a lot of people, there was an oasis in the mid 90s where, if you were a younger person, as I was at the time, 14, 15 years old, I still wanted to get the kick 'em in the teeth rock and roll of the first 2.5 records. And to hear Given the Fly Soar, and to hear Brain of J Cut, and to hear the sardonic take their heads off nature of Do the Evolution. And then I'm like, wait, oh, but there's the contemplation and there's the attitude of like, we don't need to be ripping everybody's heads off. There's problems. Take a step back. Let's be adults about it. Let's not react. Let's respond before that was a thing. And it was such a welcome, not a return, but it was a welcome point of view. And I think that anybody, regardless of age at that time, especially counter to what was popular at the time in the rock world, this is a reminder that Pearl Jam was going to do whatever the hell they want to do, number one. And number two, if they feel like writing an incredible anthem that'll still be the toast of the town and still be played during the NFC Championship game, pregame show, during a package about, a Seattle Seahawks player, it's going to happen. That's how good these songs are. Be damned the zeitgeist. So, like I said, a lot of people find this album to be their favorite. Above the verses, above the 10, and I know why. And I think if we cumulative up those ratings, against what we've talked about before with 10, and I figure out what else we've done. Have we done Vitalogy? No, we haven't done Vitalogy. You'll find that it's damn close for a good reason. So, hat tip to Yield for being a fantastic record. A salute, my lady. What is that?
Yeah, I'll do the more appropriate hat tip.
Ma'am. What do you say out there? If you're a Pearl Jam fan, which I imagine that you are, get into those comments. Let us know what you think about every song. I want a detailed analysis. Okay? I don't want the cliff notes. I want the full thing. Because I'm going to guess that YouTube loves a long comment. I don't know.
Whatever feeds the algorithm.
Exactly. We talked about the algorithms and how much we hate them. But guess what? More Pearl Jam fans, more rock music fans are going to find this content if you engage. So engage. Go ahead, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. If you're listening only, Paul, what should they do?
You're going to rate, you're going to review, and you're going to respond on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Feed that algorithm. Just dump it in there. Feed it with your likes, your rates, your reviews, whatever gets caught in the machine. Feed it. Just feed it.
Did you know that the winter, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, somebody might correct me, the winter is actually the harvest season for carrots?
What in the blue hell are you talking about right now?
We used to talk about tilling the soil and harvesting back in the fall.
Oh, that previous episode, I did talk about that, yeah. Have you been waiting until now to drop a line about carrots?
Paul, the Grenache has been drunk. We're here, and I'm just me now. This is just me.
Look at us, huh? Who would have thought?
I'll tell you what, Paul. I'm holding my glass. We are a mere 9 episodes away from 300, my friend. How about that?
Like I said, who would have thought?
Thank you, Internet.
Not this guy.
Podcast world. Yeah, let us know what you think about Yield, track by track. I can't wait to find out if you agree or disagree. Is it your favorite? Let us know. We got more fantastic episodes coming up. A couple of interviews are coming in the next couple of weeks. Oh, baby, am I excited about these fine people. I'm not going to ruin it by telling you, because if I do, they might have other things to do and cancel on us. So I can't put that bad juju out there, Paul.
No, I don't want you to put that. That's what I would do to us. So
we will see you next week. And until we do, you're listening to or watching
The State of Love and Trust.